Great news. It's the moment of truth. You've arrived to the client's house. You've gathered all your supplies. You consolidated them. You looked professional and you've walked into their home. You've made it past the threshold. You're in. And now that you're there, how's this experience going to go? As you walk past their dogs, as you walk past their children and their husband, are you ignoring them and going straight to where you need to set up? Or are you taking a moment upon entering their home to acknowledge all the other people in their home? Now, I'm not saying if somebody's on the phone to interrupt them to introduce yourself, but I am saying if you walk past the couch and you see that their significant other is sitting on the couch, you take a moment to stop and introduce yourself and say hello. After all, they are your future clients. So inevitably, when that client is on your table and the spouse walks in the room, the children walk in the room, as time goes on and you work on them multiple times, these people in their lives are going to become your future clients. It's inevitable, whether that be their in-laws, whether that be their spouse, whether that be their children, their friends, their cousins, their aunts, their uncles, their moms, their dads. Inevitably, they are going to talk about you at luncheons and family dinners and when they're out with friends, and they're going to recommend you to other people. So when you have a moment to meet that person and you're in their home, please stop and say hello and acknowledge their animals as well. Because if they have an animal, I promise you, they look at their animal like one of their children. And if you're rude to that animal, or you feel threatened by that animal, or you're not comfortable around their animal, they're not gonna want you to come back to their house. Right? So if you make the people in their home feel uncomfortable, the people in their home are going to talk to them about how uncomfortable they were while you were there massaging. And they're going to say, hey, next time, can you hire a different massage therapist? I mean, they pushed away the dog. They didn't say hello to me when they walked past. I mean, they completely ignored our kids when they walked in the room. So it's imperative that you take a moment to acknowledge everybody. I want you to think that every person in that house is your client. The minute you walk into it, I just want you to go, yep, the husband is my client. Yep, the child is my client. Yep, the dog is going to become my friend. Because the more comfortable you are when you walk into that house, the more comfortable you're making your client. So now that client can be at ease knowing, okay, they can deal with the dog at their feet. They're clearly comfortable with dogs. Okay, they can deal with my kids who came in the room to say hello to me because they got home from school. Okay, they can deal with my husband who had a phone call that came through that had a quick question for me. Boy, this therapist can deal with any situation that arises while I'm on their table. That means that now me as a client on the table, now I can relax and know I don't need to worry about accommodating you as the therapist in my home as my guest. Now I know you're comfortable enough to deal with any situation around you. It doesn't matter how often I have you to my house or what's going on in my house, you will be able to adapt. And that is one of the most important parts of being a therapist. If you are going to do mobile massage work, you need to be able to adapt to your environment. So that way you can feel comfortable in the environment regardless of the circumstances that you're walking into. And I promise you, you're going to walk into everything at someone's home. They will have just had a fight with their spouse. Their kids will come home crying about something that happened at school. There's a million things that are going to come up that you're walking into. This isn't a spa. Because it's not a spa, you are now dealing at a more intimate, personal level with this client, and you need to make sure that you are capable of adapting to it. And if you're not, I'm going to highly recommend you stay in a spa setting because it won't work for you. And I promise you, the client's going to feel it too, and the client won't have you come back. So when you walk into the house, I want you to think, these are all my clients, every one of them. Say hello. Be kind. After all, the world loves kindness.